Okay, so the base that I'm going to use, let me move my chair. So I took a box, an Amazon box, and basically I don't want it too thick or heavy and bulky, so I figured I took the top and I cut the bottom. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small reinforcing section that's going to go onto the bigger piece, because remember, this is going to be in the plastic. So it doesn't have to be pretty. So I'm going to take some tape, just enough to reinforce the base that we're going to use. So we're going to put tape on. Just like that. So I'll flip it over. Here. All right, so we got this section. What I'm going to do now is we're going to put it onto here. So I was thinking about the shape of a fire pit. So if you're going to do it real quick, let's say you want to burn something, you would use a shovel. Maybe you're going to go around the edges. So I'm going to keep the basic shape, and what I'm going to do is I might bend the edges in just a little bit to give it more of a, to get rid of that square shape. So we're going to put it like this. And I'll just tape these down. Yeah. And again, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be a little bit sturdy. So this is going to go right on the top. And what this is going to do is it's going to reinforce the bottom. So let's do it like that. We're going to bring it up. Bring it down the other side. Like that. And we'll connect it. All right, I'm going to do the same thing now for a cross section. There we are. There. So this will be the bottom part. Actually, I'm sorry. This will be the bottom part, and we'll be able to build everything up off this section. Okay, now comes the bag. So what I wanted to do this for, because you figure it's going to be outside, and you could use plywood. I thought of using plywood, but then it would be a lot heavier. The cardboard is lightweight, but we want to make sure it's protected from the moisture. So that's why we're going to put it into the contractor 45-gallon bag. There we are. So I'm going to start taping now. Alright, so this part is going to be the bottom. So what I want to do now is I'm going to start taping the bag in. Fold this in on itself, so it'll be just like that. There. So this is going to be the bottom. This is the part that's going to go on the ground, so we won't have to worry about moisture ruining the cardboard. This is going to be the top section now. So this is going to be all set, and as we put everything on, everything is going to be down. It's going to be going attached directly to the plastic. So let's start having some fun now. Okay, now that the base is done, we can start putting on some of the little goodies. Now we got the lights. All right, let's put these, because there are these little sandwich ties that are all over the place. All right. All right, so we got the plug. You want to be able to plug it in, obviously, so I'm going to put, there's a long section, so I'm going to keep it where this is going to be available to stretch out to plug in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the tie back on here, and we're going to keep this so we have enough cord. All right, plug it in over here. So what I'm going to do, the first section of lights, we're going to go ahead, we're going to attach it now. We're going to use the tape, and we're going to put the lights in position. So I want to make sure that there's secure tape for the cord. Okay, now we're going to start unwinding everything. And you guys know when you have a fire, it's mostly in the middle where you can see the red glow. So that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to do some along the edge. But as we come into the center, that's where the majority of the lights are going to be. So I'm going to start attaching the lights. I thought about using a glue gun, because you could easily do that as well, but I'm going to use the duct tape. All right, so now I want to concentrate the majority of the lights towards the center. So we're going to position everything where I want a little bit of light in all the areas. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And let's just go to the center. There. All right. So we have the lights secured in the area now. Now we're going to use the foam. You can see how it's got the little trigger. Okay. So now we're gonna have some more fun, and I want to put him. We want him to be the skull to be the centerpiece. So we're gonna put him there, but I want to also make sure that they're gonna be able to change the battery in the back. So let's kind of put him over to the side like this. And we'll take a hand, and we'll put a hand over there. Let's put a bone over there. And we'll have another hand coming out over here. So now what I want to do is we're going to use the other can. And again, it's a good thing I have more foam, because what I'm learning with this stuff is if you think you have enough, double it. Okay, so this is the problem that I ran into. They don't really give a lot of foam in the cans. So luckily I have more coming, but you can see we probably don't even have half done yet. We're gonna need a lot more. So I'm gonna have to continue this video when I get more foam. Okay, so just to be safe, I went to the store and I got 5 more cans. I thought I might have needed 2 or 3, but I got 5 just to be safe. And I got the great stuff. So it's a different brand, but it's basically the same thing. So we need to finish filling in where the lights are. And this stuff goes real quick. So what I want to do is put it right up to the edge. Okay, so this is a total of 4 cans. So as it worked out, I didn't need the others. Maybe I'll do another one, who knows, but I figured I'd better have too much than not enough. But you can see we got all the foam in, and the way it's gonna look is like, imagine a pile of ashes. Things have been burning, we've thrown it into the middle, and the body has been burning, and we got all the ash in the middle. And when this dries tomorrow, we're going to start painting, and eventually when I plug it in, if all goes to plan, it's going to look just like a smoldering fire, and we're going to see the embers. Okay, so I had some time for this all to set, and I got to figure out where I'm going to put this. This is the little sound effect box. Put that aside for now. But all the foam, it's nice and solidified, and that's going to keep everything in place, as well as keeping it adhered to the base. So because I live in New England and it was in the 30s last night, I had to bring it inside just to make sure it cured correctly. So now we can start doing the painting. And I think the first thing I'm going to use, I'm going to use the Krylon, and I'm going to use just a little bit of orange. Incidentally, before I forget, I almost forgot I got to mask off his eyes. All right, second thing I got to check, or I got to figure, is where we're going to put the sound box in. If we put it in like right here. So what I want to do is I want to make an outline, a rough outline of the box. So now we can carve a little bit out. And again, I don't have to go crazy. I just want to make it where the box, the sound box, can go in. I'll make sure we don't cut into any of the lights. Let's see how that fits. So that's going in a little bit better, maybe a little more on this side, and we'll be all set. Let me just make sure this is... That should be good. Yeah. That way there, this is going to stay in place. We won't have to worry about it. Maybe just a little bit more now. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go anymore, because now when we put the box in, you can see how it's going to go down and it's almost flush. So that'll be a good thing. It'll be out of the way. We won't have to worry about it. So let's clean up this mess and we'll move on to the painting. All right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little bit of the orange, just a little bit. All right, again, just enough so we can see the orange on the bottom. Now we're going to use the red. And again, we're going to mist over everything. And remember, the inside of the fire where the highest concentration of the ashes will be, more likely to be still glowing the hot burning embers. All right. And now what I want to do, we're going to put more of the black now. And I'll show you where I want to put the black. So what I want to do, I want to put a higher concentration of the black towards the edges. And then I want to mist over it a little bit more as we go towards the center. But remember, things in a fire pit are going to be charred. So I want to do the skull. You want to make it look like he's been in a fire pit. Now what I want to do is I want to use a little bit of the gray now. And we're going to go through, we're going to highlight everything. And again, I just want to put that burning coal thing on it. And maybe the fact that the skull has been charred. Look at that. Just a little bit now. Because when you look at a fire pit, all the ashes, like, you know, the day after you have a fire, you look at the ashes and a lot of it is black. But then there's also a lot that's gray. You've got that grayness that's going on a lot of stuff. So we got the bones. We got the charring of the skull. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so what we've got the pile of ash and all the little sticks and the branches and the pieces of wood that are still in the fire pit that haven't completely burned yet. We put a char. You can see a little bit of the red, the orange, the yellows of the foam. So it's going to blend all together. What we got to do now is we have to sit back and we got to wait for everything to dry. When everything is dried, because the paint might look a little different once it's dried. So if I want to touch it up with a little bit more red, we'll see. But for now, we're going to wait, and I want to get it all nice and dry and eventually think about plugging it in to see how it looks. All right, so the paint had some time to dry, and I brought it in and I plugged it in, and I gotta be honest, this this looks really cool. You know, after the fire has been burning for a few hours and it starts to be just that burning embers on the bed, just enough where you can see that it's really hot, but the fire is starting to go out. And you can see the bones that are burning in the ash and the hot embers. This I think it came out cool because it actually has what was in my head. That's actually reality. Let me put on the skeleton view. Remember, we got the switch in the back of his head. That way there we have the flashing skulls. We've got the option. And let's see, where is the... Here it is. Okay. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we got the box. So we're going to put this on and put this in. And that's on the sensor, by the way. That's why it went off again. All right, let's take a look at it in a little bit of light. All right, so we got a little bit of light now, and you can see how we got the ash almost like forming a crust over the embers. And if we wanted to, we don't have to keep the eyes on. That'll be for the trick-or-treaters. So we got in the back, we got the switch, and we put the eyes off, and it goes back to being a creepy skull lying in burning hot coals. And you can see over here where we put the box in. That way there, I left it so that the batteries can be changed. And then you can see, you just put it in. It's going to be nice and secure, so it's not going to fall out or go anywhere if it's moved. And you can see the ash, the bone. We got the fibia and the tibia that's lying across the hot bed of coals. You can see all the flesh has been burned off and the bones are scorched, just like the fingers you can see in the ash. And there's another bone over here, and I believe this is the radius and the ulna. And that's right next to the skull. And you can see the fire burning in his mouth. And you can see the rest of the effect. So this absolutely came out the way I had it in my mind. I didn't think it would look this good because I love putting the lights in, and I was afraid that the paint would block it. But this is why you don't really saturate it with the paint. So let me put the skull back on so you can see him. To my friends, I hope you enjoyed this quick build. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll leave you with the sound effects. What we'll do, we'll put it on. Happy Halloween.